It's Nolan. Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show. Southside. What's up, my label? Brought it straight from the dirt. Double my grind, just a triple my word. Rockin' the same clothes from the first to the third. Say what you want. Motivated by grace, but I don't like them. It's for the industry and all them haters that comprise it. I own my image and likeness. I'm fighting like Leonidas. To be righteous is key. I had to make my circle tighter, cause they life is the street. I'm from the jungle where you kill what you eat. I love the feast. Taught myself how to cook, it was Franks and butter beans. Hot summers, no treats. Niggas won with no retreat. If they gotta get you, they willing to shoot you right through the priest. That's where I'm raised at. Took the A back. Y'all niggas listening to slave rap. Just got my chain back, crafted by Arabs. Wait, I got a blade strapped under the wave cap. My city full of niggas bleeding like a fucking ASAS. So when I say I overcame the odds, I don't pray to God. Watch niggas that was shaving hard, had to take a charge till I came to change the cards. Hey, I ain't got no words for y'all. I don't do the rap beats. I'm trying to get my girl to drop.
But I know it's gonna get better than this. For sure. I don't have everything that I want. But if there's one thing that I know, it's gonna get better than this. For sure.
Hey, what's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Hope everybody's doing well out there this evening. In this video, we're going to be talking about record executive Kevin Liles. He's been in the music industry for many years. He came in up under Russell Simmons, Lear Cohen, etc. at Def Jam. He went on to be a part of Atlantic. I believe he did some work with Warner, 300, etc. He's been in the industry a very long time. And he's coming out basically saying that rapper Lady Luck, who's a New York rapper who is actually a very good lyricist, has been a very good lyricist for the better part of over 20 years. He's claiming that she came to him with a $30 million extortion plan, threatening to go file a lawsuit for SA against him if he did not pay her the $30 million. Okay? That's why we're here. Now, a couple days ago, Kevin Liles took to Instagram and posted a statement, an official statement, talking about this. But as of today, Kevin Liles has actually created a website. There's a lot of websites being created lately in the industry of, or in the court of public opinion, I should say. But he's created a website called, what is this called? LadyLucksOwnWords.com. And in this website, he's detailing the extent of his relationship with Lady Luck from signing her to Def Jam back in 1999 up until their latest interactions up until, I believe, 2024, if I'm not mistaken. I think he even said they spoke in April, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll get there. Now, what's interesting about this situation is Kevin Liles just had SA allegations that were placed against him earlier this year. That was a Jane Doe, a former employee of Def Jam, allegedly. She began working there in 1999, same year that Lady Luck got signed. I'm not saying that that was Lady Luck, because this person says they were an employee, not an artist. But it was up for a couple months, and the Jane Doe that put that out actually voluntarily dismissed that claim just a couple days ago. Okay? So now that that's been handled, he's coming out and addressing Lady Luck, which I believe this was a private offer, like a demand letter or something of that nature. And he's coming out and addressing it ahead of time. Now, I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. Um, all transparency, I do kind of know Lady Luck. We're not friends or anything like that, but we've done business together, and I will say it wasn't the best of business. All right. This isn't the time to go through all of that, but I'll just say, she mishandled some of my music that got played in TV and film, and one of my collaborators ended up suffering for it. Not me personally, but a friend and a collaborator. Now, that has nothing to do with this situation. I'm just giving transparency because I always do. If I have any connection to people on my channel, I tell y'all just so y'all know I am not clouded by those things. All right. So now what I'm going to do is pull up Kevin Liles' website against Lady Luck. I won't even say against her, but documenting their relationship, interviews of hers where she's praised him over the years, spoken very highly of him, and basically saying that this latest interaction that they've had is completely contrary to the relationship that he's known with Lady Luck, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and we're going to read through it. So the website up here says Lady Luck's own words. All right. This is a post from August 23rd, 2012 that says Throwback Thursday, Billy, me, mommy, daddy, and Kevin Liles. In this black section here, it says, in her own words, Lady Luck's own words and actions over 26 years tell the real story about her relationship with Kevin Liles and contradict the false claims in her letter demanding $30 million. Below, you can find Liles' statement and an extensive library of interviews, social media posts, news stories, and more that contradict her claims. This page will be updated as further information becomes available. All right, so first up, they had the statement from Kevin Liles, which came out 2 days ago. It says, 3 weeks ago, I received a letter from former Def Jam artist, Chanel Jones, aka Lady Luck, and her legal team threatening to publish a book and file a public lawsuit riddled with utterly false and horrendous accusations if I didn't pay them $30 million. Ms. Jones threatened to allege that almost 26 years ago when signed as a recording artist to Def Jam, she was groomed. Ms. Jones also threatened to allege that I exposed myself to her and pushed her head towards my genitalia in an attempt to force her to perform oral while she was allegedly sitting in the driver's seat of my car. None of this ever happened, he states. Her threatened allegations are totally false, and they are contradicted by Ms. Jones' many public statements about me and her experience at Def Jam. They are also at odds with her continued outreach and relationship with both my family and me for the past 26 years. Her story is a fabrication. Rather than pay her and her legal team, I am publicly addressing what I view to be an extortion attempt. Okay, so whatever interaction happened behind the scenes, he comes straight to put it out there. All right. Now, I can't speak to the nature of somebody publicly praising someone while having a private issue in terms of, misconduct and things of that nature. If you've been keeping up with the Diddy case, whether that be on my channel or elsewhere, you can see that many people that were under the thumb of Diddy for many years also praised him publicly while having many issues behind the scenes. So I can't discount her story at this point. I can't discount his story. I have to stay somewhere in the middle. Okay? Here are the facts, he says. Oh, no. Sorry, I skipped a piece. So it says, it seems Miss Jones hopes to leverage the current news environment to pressure me into writing an exorbitant check in order to avoid the negative publicity that will likely result from her false claims. I intend to vigorously fight any complaint she may file and will take whatever legal action is necessary against her and the attorneys who have participated in this attempted shakedown. All right, then he gets into what he calls the facts. He says, I signed Miss Jones to Def Jam in 1999 after hearing her rap on Hot 97. As I have always done, I gave a talented young artist an opportunity with a lucrative deal, access to recording studios, and introductions to the most popular hip hop artists of the time. In fact, she was featured on one of the hottest remixes in 1999, Simon Says by Pharoah Monch. If you don't know Simon Says by Pharoah Monch, go check it out. She's on the remix. And Symphony 2000, which was another popular record. I used to love that record. And she bodied both of them with hip hop giants. Miss Jones had a monthly column in The Source and an in-depth feature story in The New Yorker. She has previously acknowledged the efforts made to help her career. She's talked about the fact that I introduced her to one of the most prominent managers at the time, but she declined to work with him. Unfortunately, Miss Jones' career never reached the heights she or I hoped for, and she asked to be released from her contract with Def Jam a few years later. In many interviews, she has blamed many people for her failure to become a household name. Following her departure from Def Jam, Miss Jones regrettably turned to a life of crime. Oh, wow. Over the years, she has been incarcerated and described herself as a 3-time felon. Her criminal history includes felony convictions for first-degree armed robbery and heroin distribution. Damn. In interviews, she has admitted to committing several other crimes and lying to the court to combat the charges. Her history as a serial self-described criminal is well documented. So he's trying to use her criminal history as further details to say, hey, she's not a trustworthy person in his eyes. Despite her history, when Miss Jones has asked, I've tried to help her with her career. In interviews over the past 2 decades, she's spoken highly of me, noting that while at Def Jam, I treated her like my stepdaughter. As recently as last year, she reached out to me and asked for help with distribution of her new single. After connecting her with the head of my former distribution company, I'm guessing that would be 300, she did an interview stating that I was helping her with distribution, describing it as a full fucking circle moment. In another interview in February 2024, Miss Jones said, I love Kevin Liles. I just spoke to him. So he says just last year, she was still doing interviews, talking highly of him. She reached out to him privately to get help with distribution of a new single. She was trying to, because she's still putting out music and she still can rap. She's still talented. She participated in battle rap many years ago as well. Her pen is still pretty sharp. So he's saying just last year, everything was all good. In a 2020 Instagram post, she posted a picture of us with other artists writing, Throwback Thursday, happy birthday, Kev. Could have wrote a paragraph, but I already told you the other day, crying, laughing emoji. In another 2018 post of the same picture, she wrote, these men in this pic introduced me to the world. She has said she misses Def Jam. She also had a long-standing relationship with my family. She's called my mother Mom, my father Pops, and my sister her sister, and a lifelong friend, regularly telling her she loves her. Miss Jones was in communication with my sister as recently as March 2025, so just a couple months ago. Given her history with my family and I, it is shocking that she has now fabricated these claims and demanded $30 million. Her claims are untrue, and you don't have to take my word for it. Numerous witnesses can clearly refute her made-up story and consider what Miss Jones has said herself. In 2016, in response to a direct question in a video recorded interview, Miss Jones stated she had not had any negative sexual encounters with an older man when she was young. She said it wasn't like an older man situation and that any negative encounters were with boys because boys are nasty. When we were younger, boys, you know what I mean? Boys, they like to touch, or, I might have my babysitter's brother, he might show his cock. Okay, so she said all of her interactions of weird situations were when she was younger. Okay, not in the industry. She said no older men. He's saying this is a direct contradiction as to the private allegations that she has threatened to go public with. On her own podcast in 2022, she stated, I know victims of child abuse. I know people who were touched by PDFs. And me, myself, it was just always the older boys messing with me. You know what I'm saying? So I can't. again on her podcast in 2023 in a conversation about SA. We'll just use a catch-all term. She tripled down saying, me personally, I never had, from the older guys. And Kevin Liles is considerably older than Lady Luck. The only reason Miss Jones has changed her story is because she is seemingly hoping to extract a payday from me. In short, her claims are outrageous, false, and easily disproved. While it might sound surprising, I empathize with Miss Jones' struggles. She has often spoken about her long history of substance abuse, addiction, and mental health challenges. She has vented frustration and anger towards many individuals, including her own family, for the fact that she has never achieved the level of success she desires. She has spoken about generational trauma and talked about attempting unaliving herself after being ridiculed and ostracized following a high-profile rap battle against another female artist. It is well documented that the recent loss of her mother has taken a significant toll on her. Was that the Babs battle? After trying to piece together what could have triggered these false accusations, I've been deeply alarmed by the many media interviews she's participated in where she appears high or intoxicated. In an August 2024 interview, the interviewer seemingly muted her microphone as she detailed her use of cocaine, Molly, psychedelics, mushrooms, ayahuasca, and bufo, which I don't even know what the fuck that is, described online as psychedelic toad venom. In that same interview, she espouses the practice of astral projection and building your force field to protect yourself once you leave your body from entities and other things that exist outside of what we can see with our normal eyes. Which I know some people that are into that type of esoteric type of thing. It's not strange, but I guess if you already have some mental strain on you and you've dealt with other serious substances, maybe it can affect your mental health, mental well-being, possibly. Still, despite her extremely hurtful and false accusations, I pray for her healing and well-being. Regardless of my empathy for Miss Jones, I will not be extorted, nor will I pay a dollar to those that threaten to ruin my reputation or the legacy I intend to leave the culture I've spent my life serving. I will meet these false allegations and any frivolous lawsuit filed against me with all of the tools that the law provides. My attorneys will be handling it from here. It has been a difficult few months for my family and as we fought the false claims made against me, but I will continue my work to uplift and serve the culture and community. Okay? That's not the end of this, though. There's much more to this website, because he's going to go into all of the interviews where she spoke highly of him, all types of things. 26-year relationship, all detailed on this website. Now, what I'm not going to do is read everything in this motherfucker word for word. We're not finna do that. All right? So this is back in, I'm assuming 1999, when Lady Luck first got to Def Jam and they discovered her, signed her. Kevin Liles was responsible for that, all right? So the article at the top says Def Jam Records, Kevin Liles likes to say, signs only stars. In his nearly 2 years as president of Def Jam, Liles has personally signed one star, a 17-year-old rapper from Teaneck, New Jersey named Chanel Jones, who is also known as Lady Luck. So she was 17 when she signed this record deal with Def Jam. I didn't know she was that young. Wow. So she made a very big impact very fast at a very young age. I didn't know that. Again, I'm not going to read through this whole thing because I ain't got all day, man. Y'all see how long that fucking Drake video was. So this was 1999. The New Yorker published an in-depth feature on Lady Luck's burgeoning career. The story included discussion of Kevin's role in signing the young talent after an impressive week-long run in a battle rap segment on New York's Hot 97. So she was battling on the radio. They caught wind of her doing her thing on Hot 97 and basically signed her to a record deal. Now, what I find here, altogether a package somewhere worth between $500,000 and $1 million. Contract obligated her to be the principal rapper on 5 albums. So they signed her to a 5-album deal. I don't even know if she got one out with Def Jam. I got to look that up. For which she would receive various payments and benefits, including rent money for an apartment of her own, college tuition, a car, and thousands of dollars worth of jewelry, altogether a package somewhere between $500,000 to $1 million. So they paid her rent. They paid for her college tuition. I'm not even sure if she proceeded to go to college. I just don't know. I'm not saying that disparagingly. A car and thousands of dollars worth of jewelry. I remember Moni Love also got her record label to pay off her college tuition too. So that was a smart move by her and her family. Over the course of 1999 and 2000, The Source followed and wrote a monthly column on Lady Luck's career with particular interest in her progress on creating and releasing her first album. Despite being signed to Def Jam for a short time and appearing as a feature on 2 songs arranged for her by Def Jam, Liles and her A&R representative attended her high school graduation to show their support, which is pictured and called out in The Source story in September 2000. Over nearly 40 years of a career in music, many artists can attest to Liles' personal attendance at first, graduation, home purchase, child, etc., in addition to other life milestones of significance. All right? So they're saying that in The Source in 2000, they covered her high school graduation, in which Kevin Liles was actually present, I guess, as one of the chaperones. Okay? And they were running this column on Lady Luck throughout the duration of her creating her album. One of the more dramatic scenes was featured in the June 2000 issue, where Luck is pictured looking upset. The plain text reveals the reason for her emotion, disappointment that her release date had been pushed back. Lady Luck's album would not be released until she changed the face of female rap music. It's on her. Now, how could you possibly... What the fuck? Now, this is totally unrelated to the allegations. But how the hell you expect a 17, 18-year-old to come in and change the face of female rap music all by her motherfucking self with an album that y'all ain't putting out? That's a lot of pressure. There's fucking vets out this bitch that didn't change the face of the entire gender of rap. Damn, that's a lot of fucking pressure. What was she supposed to be, the female Bow Wow or some shit? The hell? They say it's on her. It ain't on me. That's Kevin Liles. Liles was pushing her harder, saying she's working hard and I respect that, but that's the way it's supposed to be. Def Jam is all about branding. I don't want Luck to make songs for me. Fuck me. It's all about the logo. Either she's gonna make it or she won't. I didn't sign Luck because she could rap. I signed her because she's a star. Again, that doesn't speak to the allegations, but it does speak to, were y'all teaching her how to change the face of rap? Were y'all giving her the resources to change the face of rap? Did she have the right production team? Who else was there? I don't know. That sounds weird as fuck to me. They continue, the story describes the pressure of Liles' high expectations for a young artist. In the August 2000 article, Lady Luck addressed the June 2000 article. People was coming up to me saying they heard my album was never coming out. Yes, my album has been pushed back, and that's because when I come through, I'm going to smash all y'all. I'm taking my time and making it right. Okay? So now we go a little bit further in time. This is an interview with the God Pod featuring Lord Jamar and Raw Digga, another incredible lady in hip hop who you know came in and made an impact, but she doesn't get her just due. So Luck spoke about signing with Def Jam. She said, so I rapped on the radio for a week straight. During that week, we had meetings with everybody. Like I had 2 meetings with Bad Boy. Yee. After a while, it was taking meetings because we wanted lobster. We knew we was gonna go. We knew who we was gonna go with. It was the end of '99. So what is this? They got audio for this. It looks like this is on loop.
Like I had 2 meetings with Bad Boy. After a while, it was just taking meetings because we want lobster. We knew we.
What year are we talking right now?
2019. No, this was goddamn. Why you want to do all that, Jamal?
Because I remember when I lived in Brooklyn in the 90s.
End of '99. It was the end of '99.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I rapped on the radio for a week straight. It was like you call in and you battle and you win for a week, and then when you go
Wait, was that Battle of the Beats or some shit like that?
Was it Check the Rhyme? I think it was.
Okay.
I think it was Check the Rhyme or some. Yeah, it wasn't the roll call. I did the roll call, but nobody remember that. I think it was Check the Rhyme. So I did for 5 days straight. After Wednesday, I knew I was gonna win. The way they treated me up there, Steph Lover, Ed Lover, DJ Enough, Skeletor. So by the time I did Wednesday, I knew I was gonna win. And then when I went up there the next week, I'm rapping, and I keep rapping, and the phone lines ain't doing nothing. So I rap again, and the phone lines went crazy. And but during that week, we had meetings with everybody.
All right, I just wanted to get the entirety of that statement out. All right, so we're going to move forward. Now, in an interview published in The Root in 2016, where Lady Luck said Liles made me cry in his office, aligns with the text of the Source story from 2000. Luck spoke on the pressure of being told her album will only drop when she's going to change the face of women in hip-hop, which is a lot of pressure to put on a 17-year-old. So here is a clipping. It says, "What else do you remember?" She says, "I remember the time Kevin Liles made me cry in his office." They say, "Oh God, look, I forgot all about that. That was horrible. What did he say exactly?" She says, "You asked him when my album was going to drop, and he said, Luck's album will drop when she's going to change the face of women in hip hop. That is a lot of pressure to put on a 17-year-old. So that seems to be the gripe that she had with Kevin Liles prior, but now there's a different story. Here we get to 2017. She speaks about the incident again. She says, "Throwback Thursday, that time Kevin Liles made me cry in the Source. You could tell by the pics I was trying." Okay? In 2017, Luck used the crying laughing emoji when characterizing that time Kevin Liles made me cry in the Source. The Instagram post she linked has since been deleted. So this was a Twitter post, but she also posted it on Instagram, and it's no longer there, they claim. So this is an interview with Raw Room in August of 2024. Luck explained Def Jam was unhappy with the songs written by a friend that she turned in as her own, which is weird. Why would she do that? They say an admission she had never been told before. She says, "I told you my mother wrote my first rhyme, and then fuck it. When I got a record deal, and even though I was the one who got the record deal, I'm the one who's been doing all these raps. When I got signed initially, I had someone writing for me. And it was the first couple months, and they didn't love none of my songs at Def Jam. Songs that he was writing for me. They didn't know. Nobody knew. You the first niggas who know this, I'm telling you right now. And then, finally, when I started writing my own stuff, that's when I started getting the rapport and the reaction from the label that I was looking for." So I don't know why some nigga was writing her raps, but here she says it in a podcast interview. I'm going to try to catch it up because they got these things on loop. So I can't just restart this shit whenever I want.
Mm-hmm. And insecurity issues. And even though I was the one who got the record deal, I'm the one who's been doing all these raps. When I got signed initially, I had somebody writing for me.
Yeah.
And shout out Lee Majors, Bush Babies.
Oh, shout out to Lee
he's
Majors.
super dope. And it was like the first couple months.
Yeah.
And no, they didn't love none of my songs at Def Jam. None of them, never. And
but
then
songs
by
that,
the time
songs that
he was writing for me.
Oh, okay. But that's
then,
somebody that they
didn't know.
No,
nobody knew.
They
you the first niggas who know this shit. I'm telling you right now.
They got him to write for you.
No, I'm telling you, this is my man. I got a deal. I got nervous. Yo, nigga, I need help. And you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I would bring the songs up to Def Jam. They didn't like them. And then finally, when I started writing my own stuff, that's when I started getting the rapport and the reaction from the label that, I was looking for. But initially, I'm not gonna lie, because it was so heavy, like,
you just make this up in your head. You a kid. I'm gonna get a record deal. Then it finally happened.
You got
like,
a record deal like,
and it's not just our record deal. It's Def Jam.
Right,
Jay-Z just walked by. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, it was overwhelming. It was definitely overwhelming at that age. Yeah.
like, right?
Well, I told you, my mother wrote my first rhyme.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then, fuck it. When I got a record deal, one thing that I've always fought with, and I know a lot of people do, is a lot of women do, is self-esteem and insecurity issues. And even though I was...
All right, so we heard the rest of that. I just want to make sure her complete thought gets out. All right, so she signs a deal. She gets a record deal of winning rap battles on the radio. So I'm guessing she had the innate ability to freestyle, but maybe she wasn't as great at writing, which Snoop Dogg also had that issue when he first signed with Dre. He used to go in the studio and freestyle and just rap forever, and then Dre used to piece those verses together and cut them and say where to end it. This is where you're going to come back in. We're going to put a hook in here, and piece together those early Snoop records. If you never heard that story, you can find it online. But that's a thing that young artists got to go through. Even me, when I was younger, I didn't know how to write songs. So I was just writing fucking pages of raps, just fucking pages. I wasn't the craziest freestyler. I've been nice at freestyling, but I wasn't somebody that could just go in the booth and freestyle for 5 minutes and have a great song. That wasn't me. But anyway, so there's that. Still nothing against Kevin Liles. She's basically speaking to her own issues, right? So then they say in 2012, Vibe spoke with Eric Sermon, famed producer and EPMD member, shout out to Eric, who said Def Jam made us put Lady Luck on the record, referring to the lead single for Out of Business, all right? So this is a situation where they got a collab with EPMD and Lady Luck, and he says Def Jam made us put her on the record, all right? So that goes to show that they were advocating for her, right? So the clip says Kevin Liles figured it would be a dope title, Out of Business, and it would create some hype. The record came out and did over 70,000 the first week. It wasn't even supposed to be EPMD's last album, but the album would have been really dope if we would have dropped that classic EPMD single first. That's where that album messed up at. It wasn't all the way classic EPMD. We were so influenced by Def Jam. Back in Business had done so well that Def Jam was like, let's get some more artists on here. So they made us put Lady Luck on the record. And Red and Meth were so big, they wanted us to piggyback off of them. Which made a lot of sense anyway, because Redman came up under the tutelage of EPMD. He was scorching hot. Method Man was scorching hot. Not that we're talking about any of this in the context of what Kevin Liles and Lady Luck got going on, but now this is taking me down memory lane. So it made sense that he would be able to repay them by giving them big features for them, as they gave him the opportunity to feature on their work early on. Anyway, let's keep going. So here we have an interview with Star of Star and Buck Wild on Vlad TV. Oh, man. In March of 2015, Star asked Luck, why were you released at Def Jam? After an exchange, Star asked if she was smashing a famous radio personality while at Def Jam, an allegation she denied. Luck then said, wasn't Kevin on your show and you asked him why Lady Luck was dropped from Def Jam? And I never heard it. Someone told me about it. He said she couldn't get her image together, and then you licked shots. Star responded, word is you were difficult and you faked jacks. Luck said, I definitely wasn't faking jacks, and I don't know what difficult could mean. Okay, so this is another interview of Lady Luck. This is an older interview from March of 2015. And I guess the faking jacks thing is she came in with raps from a totally other rapper that she wasn't even writing herself. But of course, she didn't actually admit to that until last year. So this is 2015. I'm going to go ahead and hit the audio on this. Hopefully it's not very long.
Dash. They had Ja Rule, but Ja Rule had Irv Gotti. And any artist that popped at Def Jam at the time, they had a strong team. Luck was 17. I was on the radio. The buzz was
strong on you.
It was, because I was working, but I didn't have nobody working in the office. You understand what I'm saying? Where the magic happened.
You just said you had Nikki D in the office.
Well, Nikki wasn't my A&R. Nikki wasn't making any, major decisions. When you got Kevin and you got,
I don't know. I'm just
yeah, I don't know.
Rumor has it, and I just want to see.
I want to know what this rumor is. I've heard a lot of rumors. I didn't hear this one.
So you and Ed Lover weren't smashing?
No, Ed Lover's like my dad's friend. Ed Lover's like 400 years old. He's my dad's friend. Wasn't Kevin on your show and you asked Kevin Liles, and you asked him why Lady Luck was dropped from Def Jam or whatever? I never heard it. Someone told me about it, and he said she couldn't get her image together, and then you licked shots. Now I don't know if you recall this. Somebody called me that.
What was you were difficult and you were faking jacks?
Oh, I definitely wasn't faking jacks. I mean, and I don't know what difficult could mean.
So why didn't you pop off at Def Jam?
In my opinion.
Business-wise.
Why
were you released?
I asked to be released.
Way back in the days.
Yeah, back like 100 years ago. I asked to be released. And what happened was, at the time, Def Jam was a dope distribution label. They had Jay-Z, but Jay-Z had Dame Dash. They had Ja Rule.
All right, so we heard the top of that. Just want to make sure she gets all her complete thoughts out. And I'm wondering if the couldn't get her image together thing was about her being a tomboy, which I believe she is, a lesbian. She's into women. So perhaps that was something that she, this is early. This is 1999, 2000. They weren't necessarily ready to embrace that as a thing. So maybe that was some of the complications that she was facing at that time. All right. Notably, Liles previously told The Source in a June 2020 story on Luck, Def Jam is all about branding. I want to put Lady Luck up against the best of them, but she needs to be able to grow as well. Okay, I don't know. They say later in that same 2015 Vlad TV interview with Star asked Lady Luck who threw shit in the game. Luck said everybody. Among issues she cited, they never sent me a makeup artist. My publicist never showed up. And I'm a female. But when you're a female rapper, otherwise, Luck's out here looking like a fucking blank. Everybody blames it on me. At the same time, I'm not getting any assistance from the label. Who's giving me all that money? Shit. Now, because she uses that slur, I can't go ahead and play that because YouTube will flag it. Okay? And I need all my monies. Okay? Now, in January 2020, in an interview with Bars on I-95, Luck said, I got signed to Def Jam when I was in high school. Great time. It was very educational, and I learned so much, and I spent so much money, and there was no room for me at the time. They really had like A&Rs. If the Source magazine is not doing it, if XXL is not doing it, nobody knows who you are. Shout out to Bars on I-95. They put a lot of great artists on their platform to do freestyles. If you ain't never seen a Bars on 995 episode, go look them up. All right, now let's get to this.
But it was like, it was no room for me because at the time, they really had like A&Rs and people have to like put your album together. It's not like what you guys do now. You do your music in your closet, you put it out, and you got 1 million views on your Instagram. It was none of that. Like, I literally from the dinosaur era, but a child in the dinosaur era. So it was like, if the Source magazine's not doing it, XXL is not doing it, nobody knows who you are,
right.
you know. And it just so happened that the Source magazine followed me for 12 months. So I was actually like the first reality show, you know what I mean? So, and I'm the first rapper to have 10 pages in the New Yorker magazine. But I got signed to Def Jam when I was in high school. Great time. It was very educational. I learned so much. They spent so much money, but it was like, it was no room for me because at the time, they really had like A&Rs and people have to like put your album together. It's not like what you guys do now. You do your music in your closet.
All right, we'll move forward. In a May 2017 interview with Madam Bullet, Luck said, I got a record deal with Def Jam when I was in high school. I rapped on the radio, Hot 97. You know, she's basically reiterating the same story that's been recounted numerous times in this video already. So nowhere in any of these stories does she reflect on a bad personal relationship or any nefarious or misconduct from Kevin Liles, okay? She says, while I was there, I learned the business because it's the music business, you know what I mean? So while I was there, I didn't really have a team who knew what we was doing. And you just got Luck and my niggas, you know what I mean? So it was hard maneuvering through there, but we learned a lot. I spent all the money and I made a lot of great connections. I've done a lot of songs with people. Man, then a couple years after I left Def Jam, I asked for my release because at the time, Kevin and them, they was making their transition to Warner Brothers. Like I said, I thought he worked with Warner for a little bit, and I was already lost in the sauce. So we left. I figured I wanted to do independent, but somehow, some way, I went to jail for armed robbery. She said she started doing gangster shit. I was out on bail when I battled Remy. As a matter of fact, I was out on bail. Okay, so I think that's the big battle, not Babs, but Remy. I wanted to say Remy, but I was like, I don't want to misquote that. I ended up misquoting it anyway. So she battled Remy Ma. And she said she was out on bail when that battle took place. As a matter of fact, I was out on bail for armed robbery when I battled her. Okay. Here, this is last year with Bag Fuel, Esso and Heineken. Interviewer says, I see that there's a time and a place for everybody, and you can do right now. This could really be your time if you stay consistent with it. Lady Luck replies, and that's been my problem. I'll be honest with you, consistency, and because of a lack of a team. Interviewer 2 says, and distracted. I know what you're distracted by. She says, no, not distracted. I got to pay these fucking bills. It would be my fault. It would be some hating. It's a mix of things. Now, I don't know what the hate would be, but we'll keep going. In an August 2024 interview, the same interview cited before, Luck said, and people shitted on me in high school. They didn't treat me right. So when I had a record deal walking through the high school with Def Jam jacket on, what? At the locker like this? Oh man, you can't tell me nothing. The checks and everything started clearing. Everything was happening. It wasn't popping till after high school, but Kevin Liles, DJ Enough, they came to my high school graduation. Lil Mo wrote me $1,000 check. You know what I'm saying? In a July 2022 interview with The B Shine, Luck said, I went from a kid in high school who only people in my neighborhood knew to me going to be the biggest thing in New York City at the time. And then we had bidding wars, and then I signed to Def Jam because I ran up that car service. So every day after school, the car service is outside. And I'm going to Def Jam, and I'm in everybody's office, even if I had nothing to do at the time. It was immediate. I signed. Kevin Liles signed me, and I was working with Redman and Method Man. At first, I was just shell-shocked. It was a great experience because I got to meet everybody, get respect from people who I look up to. So it was pretty dope, super dope. Okay? Going back to the Lord Jamar interview, Luck said, I used to have to sneak in the studio because my Aunt Sylvia wouldn't give us studio time. Before I signed to Def Jam, I went into a barbershop one day after school and said, y'all, I'm selling mixtapes. And the guy was like, well, let me hear something. So I rap, and the guy was like, yo, you rapping about something that's not your life, because I rapped about a bottle of Moet. He's like, okay, give me a bottle of Moet. So I went next door to the barbershop, the liquor store, and I had the money from the mixtapes, and somebody gave me $10. I was $10 short, and I brought the bottle back to the barbershop. So they sold her a bottle of Moet underage, because she was 17 when she got discovered. And I brought the bottle back to the barbershop, and when I popped in the doorway, everybody went crazy. Right before I even got my deal with Def Jam, I was like low-key running with Junior Mafia for a month. In a conversation with Live from Vietnam in February 2024, Luck said, I started with Def Jam straight out of high school. Same story. We're not going to keep reading this. It's the same story. Despite parting ways with Def Jam before ever releasing an album, a release Luck has said she requested, Luck has regularly and publicly reached out to Liles over the past 2 decades. She's also posted and commented on Liles' social media posts and his sisters as well, demonstrating a close relationship with his family. This is 2009. Holla Bread, I'm guessing that this is the sister. Haven't seen Leora in years. Cool with Kev though. Holla at me. What you up to? She reaches out to Kevin Liles on Twitter in 2010. Good afternoon, Kev. What up? Holla at me. Kevin Liles posts a change.org petition for something. I wonder if that was the Lupe shit. Anyway, we'll keep going. She jumps up and says, what up, Kev? February 4th, 2011, she jumps in and sends a tweet at Kevin Liles again. Happy New Year, Kev. Then the Throwback Thursday joint. Throwback Thursday, back in my Def Jam days with Uncle Rush, Kevin Liles, and my big sis Steph Lover. Shout out to Steph Lover too. This was December 15th, 2016. So there's a history of her continuing to reach out to them and publicly posting about them. 2012, Luck posted picture with her family and Liles from when she was signed to Def Jam. In 2018, Luck posted a picture from the video shoot for Symphony 2000, thanking Liles and artists, saying they introduced me to the world. This is 2018. Liles acknowledged Luck's post on the Symphony 2000 video shoot by commenting, "Classic family, her story." Luck posts warm birthday wishes to Liles in 2020 with heart emojis, adding she recently expressed her positive feelings to him directly. So this is a quote here. "Happy birthday, Kev. Could have wrote a paragraph, but I already told you the other day." This was February 28, 2020. In the comments of her 2020 birthday post to Liles, she says, "Me too," in response to a former colleague saying, "I miss working at Def Jam." She says she does also. Okay. In the comments of a 2021 birthday post, this is the following year, by Liles' sister to Kevin, Luck wished Liles a happy birthday. Okay. Luck expresses condolences in post by Liles' sister regarding the mass and internment services for Liles' father. So this is when Kevin's father passed away. She was giving her condolences. Luck comments with dove and heart emojis on Liles' June 2024 post in remembrance of his late father. So just as recent as last year. Luck comments on Liles' June 2024 post on his parents' anniversary, noting how she loved his late father's cooking. Okay, in the comments of a 2021 post by Liles' sister celebrating her parents' anniversary, Luck posted 3 raised hand emojis. In 2014, Luck posted a picture with Liles' sister during a trip to Denver. In April 2024, Luck posted an Instagram story on the birthday of Liles' sister, referring to her as "my lifelong friend." In 2024 post by Liles' sister celebrating the birthday of Liles' mother, Luck referred to their mother as Mom. Luck's friendship with Liles' sister goes back 25 years, and their extensive text record demonstrates their close relationship. Luck suggests to Liles' sister they meet up for lunch while Liles' sister is in Atlanta in March 2024. As recently as mid-March 2025, Luck and Liles' sister coordinated to meet up. So this is a text right here of this year of Lady Luck and Kevin Liles' sister trying to link up in Georgia. Okay, in a 2021 Instagram post made by Liles' sister, Luck comments, "I love you so much." Luck comments, "Amen," to a post by Liles about determination. Luck comments, "Get the strap," with a winking and laughing emoji to Liles' post celebrating a new album. This was Nicki Minaj, Queen. And who knows what she might have meant by that. Luck comments, "Haters will say," and we know "get the strap" was the 50 thing. Luck comments, "Haters will say it's photoshopped," in response to Liles' post about catching a fish. Liles responds with laughing emojis. Luck comments with applause emojis in response to Liles' post about lobbying for artistic freedom, rap on trial legislation in Albany, New York. So they're out there in New York fighting for artistic freedom and rap not to be used in litigation or legislation. She has hand clap emojis, still supporting him. Luck comments with hard eye emojis in response to a Liles' post about participating in a friend's golf tournament. Luck comments turned into a model in the second pic with a laughing emoji in response to a Liles' post. You know, he had some health issues, so he showed a before and after. Luck comments, "Toes look cute. Proud of you, Kev. I got too many pics of the old us. I like the new us," in response to Liles' post about health and fitness. So she's even complimenting his feet. This is a lot. So he went through, like, she damn near commenting on every post he puts up on Instagram, okay? I'm not finna do this. Here we get text. In February 2024, Luck asked Liles for help with distribution. Okay, so this is February 6, 2024. She's got a song called Praise. She says, a little help with distribution. Kevin response has come through blank, my love. She said, I would love to. When can we set something up? All right. So August, the same year, he says, can I call you later? October, she says, Kev, it's Luck. I always miss your calls. Okay. February 6, 2024, Kev says, Luck, you are connected with the head of blank distribution. Blank, meet Lady Luck. Okay. Lady Luck responds, pleasure to meet you, blank. Would love to set something up for my new single. Such and such comes in. Thanks, Kev. Lady Luck, I'll hit you separate and get you situated. She thanks him. So 1 hour after she asked for help, he connected her with the head of a music distribution company to support Luck's career. After Liles' help, Luck cites distribution as first response to question of what are good things happening to you. Okay, this is on Power 105, February of last year. This is right after they got connected, a couple days. In response to an interview's question, what are good things happening to you? Luck immediately says, we've got distribution. While the interviewer misunderstands her response as a reference to her business placing music on television programs, that's where our wires got crossed. At the end of the interview, she circles back again to talk about her new single and the distribution she secured for. Okay. In another interview, Luck details that she got distribution with Kevin Liles, Shut Up and Talk show February, so same month. Right after those texts and that connection happened, she went and started talking about it. It don't matter what you're doing. It don't matter how old you are. It don't matter none of that shit. You make good music. You independent. You find your fan base, and you don't need people. Then I get distribution with Kevin Liles. We full fucking circle after 25 years. Lady Luck in 2020. Kevin is still that nigga today. Kevin been that nigga. So this is even before they reconnected with her distribution situation back in 2020. She said, I had an amazing record deal and they don't give these out anymore. It was a 5-album deal. At the time, I was getting $1.25 an album. That's what the deal was. And that was amazing at that time. Def Jam, they signed me in 30 days because they didn't want a bidding war. Kevin Liles turned my ass out and he promised me the world. Now that sounds crazy. They would send me car service and jackets and Jay-Z concerts. Interviewer, Kevin was that nigga back then though. She says Kevin is still that nigga today. Kevin been that nigga. Going back to the Lord Jamar and Rod Digger. Luck says, I'm being courted by every record label, but we had a great time. A lot of money, lots of trips, a lot of learning experiences. It was no direction. I got tossed around, but I hung out with everybody, you know? Chris Lighty wanted to manage me at the time. I was like, nah, I'm loyal to my management over here. There was a lot of things that happened that, you know, I'm young. She probably should have went with Chris Lighty at that time. He had everybody on Def Jam any fucking way. They say, I think you were at Def Jam at a tumultuous time. She says, my God, they were at the top of their career. I remember when they had a list come out of priorities and I was like number 21. But the funny thing is I was above like low key, like Foxy or LL. I remember my name being above somebody that blew my mind. But at the time, I mean like that, I was on Def Jam when I was at Def Jam. So everybody's rocking from Cisco, Jay-Z, DMX, Murder Inc., and then all of they artists, Rockefeller and all of they artists. But as good as it was tumultuous at the time at Def Jam. It was crazy. She said, yeah, it was impossible to get not a meeting because Kevin treated me like his stepdaughter. So it wasn't impossible to do those type of things, but to actually find a direction. Here on the left here, Luck says, Liles set me up with a legendary manager, Chris Lighty. My dumbass said no. This was last year. Same interview. So then they brought in James Ellis, and James ain't do much. I'm going to be honest with y'all. It is the music business. If you don't have somebody running your business, like Ellis is supposed to be my manager, but he's calling enough. My A&R like, yo, Luck in them is shooting dice in the studio. I'm giving you 20%. I'm young and dumb and loyal. Kevin Liles sat me down one day with Chris Lighty and said, Luck, Chris wants to manage you. My dumb ass said no. Yeah, if Chris Lighty would have gave her direction and guidance, she probably could have been a big artist. Because Lady Luck is talented, and she was nice. She had a presence. She could rap with the niggas. Like, she's an artist that was supposed to have taken off. They continue. Lady Luck's own words, contradicting her present claims and defending Liles when others defamed him. Okay, so here is another Vlad interview, looks like, where she gets confronted about SA. She says she's never been blanked or had an older man situation. She says, I've never been blanked. I've been blanked. Boys are boys. It wasn't like an older man situation. Boys are nasty. When we were younger, you know what I mean? Boys, you know, they like to touch, or, you know, okay, that's the thing where the dude showed her the thing. I've never been per se blanked, but, you know, growing up, boys are boys. That was 2016. This is another one here from 2023. Never had from the older guys. She says, I'm not going to lie, 90 to 99% of the women that I have met, that Lady Luck has met, Chanel Jones has met, she gives you all her names, that are quote unquote promiscuous or quote unquote fast, they were touched. That flower was touched before it was finished blossoming. Now, me personally, I've never had, you know, from the older guys, but if I wrote a book about my experience with men I tried to start, you guys would think I'm bashing them. Okay? Interesting. Continue. She knows victims of child abuse and PDFs, but her experiences were just the older boys. This is 2022. So she went back on there a year later, said that, but the year before, she says, I know victims of child abuse. I know people who were touched by PDFs, and you know me myself. It was always just the older boys messing with me. You know what I'm saying? So I can't, you know. But that, totally unacceptable. Here, says, I watched this entire dumbass video waiting for you to connect Kevin Liles to Diddy, and you failed. Okay, so this is a person from last year who watched her interview and was like, I've been sitting here waiting on you to say Kevin Liles was a diddler. And she never did. Just disparaged and tried to baselessly connect the legendary record executive to Diddy's troubles for no good reason. Lay off the liquor. She retweets the defense of Liles when social media posts falsely linked WMG resignation to Diddy. Because remember last year when Diddy got arrested and all that, Kevin Liles resigned from Warner around the same time. So people was like, oh shit, what's finna come out on him? Let's see here. Retweeted a critique of a social media post that just disparaged and tried to baselessly connect the legendary record executive to Diddy's troubles for no good reason. Liles' planned resignation from WMG came on the 10th anniversary of 300 Entertainment, 6 weeks after the departure of the heads of recorded music at Warner and Atlantic, 3 days before WMG announced further corporate restructuring, and 2 weeks prior to WMG's fiscal year, because they started firing motherfuckers. Now here, they go into Lady Luck's criminal history. So this is where they try to muddy the waters and say that she's a criminal. Lady, I mean, I think you did enough when you showed all of the time she upheld your name. But he is fighting, you know, for his life, so he say. So Lady Luck has a history of taking illegal shortcuts for monetary gain. In her own words, Lady Luck is a 3-time felon with convictions for armed robbery and heroin distribution. So this is a different type of distribution now. In interviews, she had called herself a criminal. Her record speaks for itself. So here they've got an indictment for armed robbery, which was, trying to get to the date of this stuff, 2005. Okay. She filed a guilty plea for armed robbery. Okay. Got an indictment for heroin distribution. This was in 2011. Guilty plea for heroin distribution. Okay. In her words, she says, I'm a 3-time felon. My temper and temperament speak for me. Okay. She said, I had to decide what to do, Uncle Rob, because I'm a 3-time felon and that young lady does not have a record. My temper and my temperament speaks for me with the law. Another one, you know I'm a criminal. That's what turns you on about me. So when I used to do robberies, I would listen to Freeway. My nigga Freeway, shout out. Even though what we do is wrong, we still hustle till the sun come up. Crack a 40 when the sun go down. It's a cold winter. Y'all niggas better bundle up. And I bet it be a hotter summer. Grab an onion just to lock it down. We hot now. Listen up. Don't you know cops first thing is to lock us down and throw away the key. But without this drug shit, your kids ain't got no way to eat, huh? So she said she used to rob niggas and listen to Freeway. She said, why you looking at me like that? I went to jail. I told y'all, you gotta watch our previous interviews. You know I'm a criminal. That's what turns you on about me. That's what you love about me, baby. Jokingly. In her words, and we did armed robberies. We duct tape them. Oh my God. Not duct tape them. Steal their money. So with the beat 139, December of 2019, interviewer says, what do you mean armed robbery? What made you do that? She says, now be cool when I say this, but I can sympathize with Tekashi, as in 6ix9ine. You go around and you tell people, this is who I am. And then people start treating you like that's who you are. And that's who you become. So when I'm out here, now I'm from Teaneck, New Jersey, and I'm not saying I'm soft or anything, but I put in all my work now. But back then, I'm an overweight, light-skinned girl with a baseball cap, and I tell people I do this. And they treat me like that. So when I go places, I act like that. And we did armed robberies. And we were never too successful at it. So you running up in banks and get away cars and all that? She says, no. I mean, I paid karma back. Fuck society, but I paid karma back. Karma come back and paid everything back from me. We do everything from the young ladies going back from the clubs, and they go to the hotel with the gentlemen, and we came inside and we duct tape them, steal their money. So this is like some escort situation. This is some setup stuff. This is, hey, I'm going to get you to lay down with one of these little things, and we busting in, taking money. Damn. So you let them go to sleep and kick in the door? She says, no, they didn't get a chance to go to sleep. We were housekeeping and not housekeeping. Bah! Lady Luck's challenges with addiction and substance abuse. Lady Luck has a long, self-described history of struggles with addiction and substance abuse. She has detailed her mental health challenges and the causes, such as generational trauma, her rap battle with a well-known female artist, and her own decision-making. Her past statements illuminate the causes for her trauma, so they're going deep. Interviewer says, what you got to the point where you don't want to live anymore? Luck says, broke. I had a battle that motherfucker said I lost with Remy Ma. You know, I had a record deal, you know, and Vlad. You know what they say about me out here? You can read these comments. You guys are bullying real people. We are regular people just like everybody else. When people come and they leave these terrible comments, it was a point in time where the world tried to play me, especially when that Remy shit happened before they dropped the video. And it was just on air and they edited it the way they did it. It was a very dark part of my life because everyone was against Luck. The domino effect of the Remy battle made you want to end your life. The way I was treated. I love you to death, but DJ Enough was my A&R, and for him to go on the radio and say the thing that he did, it broke my heart. Steph Lovell was my sister. It was one time I was in Long Island and I walk into a barbershop and her and Remy's on the TV and they laughing and kikiing it up about me. These are things that happen at this time. It's not just, oh, Luck, you lost a battle. It's way deeper than that. People who I fucked with, people who were my friends, and now nobody's fucking with me. So she allegedly lost this battle with Remy Ma, and even her own people was laughing at her. August 2019. October 11, 2018, I went to the G-Dub. George Washington Bridge, I would assume. I was out there, and then they were to stop me. And of course, they were like embarrassing me low key. And I was, if anybody dropped past and say, why is Luck on the bridge at 1 a.m, you know? It didn't look right. So I said, after all the police surrounded me, I said, okay, this is embarrassing. I'm out of here. You didn't take him on a chase, did you? But what I learned and what I took from that is, for one, there are so many people who are going through these emotions, and there's so many people who have reached the bottom, and there's so many people who felt like that. And once you feel like that, it actually, when you almost go through it, is damn near freedom, because it's like you don't give a fuck anymore. What's all this shit? Lux tweets in advance of October 11th, 2018, attempted... so she was on the bridge about to jump off. Wow. Shit. I asked Blessed on Blank for a sister, and this day she gave me so much more. My best friend, my rock, my number one fan. You have my back and love me unconditionally. I'm so proud of you and all. Too early in the morning, Luck. I watched her do everyone dirty. When it was my turn, I couldn't be mad. Karma. In life, when people hurt us, what it is hard to find the fault in ourselves, but something in us allowed it to happen. Some signs we ignore or characteristic traits we know is not good for our well-being. We can blame them for their actions, but we must also blame ourselves. The scorpion was in danger and asked the turtle for a ride across the river. The turtle saved the scorpion's life and took him to the other side. The scorpion stung the turtle. As the turtle was dying, he asked, "Why would you do that?" The scorpion replied, "You knew I was a scorpion." I had a friend since high school recently break my heart. I have looked out for her knowing she had no place in my new life anymore. Once she double-crossed me, I could blame no one but myself. It is not selfish to focus on yourself and make yourself happy. If you are no good to yourself, you can't be any good to anyone else. This weekend, I learned my biggest problem in life, and that is I have tried to make others happy while sacrificing my own. No matter what you do, you could never satisfy human beings, so focus on yourself. So these are all tweets of around the same time of her being depressed and about to end it all. God bless. I'm glad that she didn't. Okay. 2024. She says, I'm 42. I just lost my mom last year. I have to sit here and work through all of that trauma. The first 25 of mine, we ain't get to talk about that. So now when you do mushrooms and you're sitting in the house and you're meditating and they rip up all of that trauma, you have to maneuver through that. And then you go back all these generations and you stand here and you say, the reason why I'm fucked up is because they was fucked up. As in, I guess, family. February 2024, when I was in LA and I was in that highly publicized relationship, I don't know what relationship that was, we were doing cocaine together. I had a good time on cocaine, I'm not even gonna lie. When you see me in the video and I had on the onesie and it was like Lady Luck is naked, and yeah, that was the coke. It was a great diet. I'm not promoting it. I stopped years ago, but what happened was at the time I was in such darkness. I'm doing coke, I'm drinking alcohol, smoking marijuana, all at the same damn time. She said it was a great diet plan. I guess it helped her lose some weight. 24 August. In a conversation about her favorite types of alcohol, Luck says, I really enjoyed alcohol during the pandemic. I used to clear a 1-liter bottle of Patron by myself every day. She described her ex-girlfriend as saying, okay, I can deal with an alcoholic, and described herself as super functional. February 2024, same interview about the distribution. While referring to the only family member she says she is still on good terms with as a casualty of war due to an interview scheduled to release in the near future, Luck pours Patron into a glass on video and asks, oh, can we do this? I don't think you're supposed to do that on the radio video. 2020, during the pandemic, I'm sniffing cocaine. I actually had a great time on it because I picked that habit up when I was in LA. We were skiing on slopes, me and my ex. When I came back here, first of all, finding cocaine on the East Coast is one of the hardest things in the world. I'm asking people, I'm lying. It's for my neighbor. Do you know where I could get some cocaine? Damn, it's not so straightforward. So finally, When I had found it, they closed the borders down. And I said, now wait a minute, Chanel. You know you ain't losing no goddamn weight. This ain't no good coke. Hey, yo. You don't want the kids to come downstairs and find you. But because it was a habit, because you're addicted, even though you know it's not the best coke that you're sniffing, you still do it. 2019, my last battle, I was high off Xannies. I wasn't high off Xannies to be like the rappers taking them. I was taking Xannies because I really dead ass had anxiety because the voices in my head was so loud. I was going to have a fucking nervous breakdown. I was having an anxiety attack, so I had to take them. We've got, I guess, a Twitter clipping here. She said, once on a shroom trip, I watched music videos. It felt as though I could see from another realm and was disappointed. This is how humans chose to live. I know what we've been told, but I wonder what we really are. And where the fuck are we? Like, for real, for real. 2024. Astral projection is when you leave your physical body because we are more than our physical selves. Interviewers mute the interview and Luck can be seen mouthing. She says, I have done coke. I have done Molly. I have done shrooms. I've done ayahuasca. I have done bufo. End of mute. I have never had a fear of doing something like this. In the beginning, you have to prepare yourself to leave your body. So there are things we can't see with our normal eyes, the entities and other things that exist outside of what we can see with our normal eyes. So just practicing building your force field so that when this shit sounds crazy, to protect yourself once you leave your body. 15 Minutes of Fame Radio, January 2015. I'm not going to use Biggie as an example because I'm not trying to get shot in the head, just like I ain't got no type. I was like, what if Biggie heard that record? You know what I'm saying? But not now, but in that era. So I just think music reflects a time. And I hope I answer whatever the fuck you asked me because I'm high as hell. I wonder what the context was. Were they asking her about Biggie questionable lyrics? 2020, March. Seconds after Hennessy is poured directly into her mouth from the bottle, she says, I'm a freak. I've had fivesomes before. It was a fivesome, but I was the only nigga in the room. I guess as in black. 2019. As of right now, we got Jersey Shine, and I'm having a great time with it. You know, this is 40 proof, 20%. If that means anything, I don't know. He told me that, but it's definitely strong. We got 7 different flavors, 8 if you include the White Lightning, which is 100 proof, which I was off of last night, telling niggas I'ma suck the dick. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. Whoa! Lady Luck's own words, statements, and views over the years. Lady Luck has had a long and active history in interviews and on social media. She has shared a lot of information and opinions on various topics and expressed notable views regarding allegations of SA against prominent individuals in music. Luck says, I did some things under the influence of alcohol. I was wild. I hope they don't try to come Harvey Weinstein my ass. Whoa! What do you mean by that? So, in an interview with Chuck from All Hip Hop, shout out to Chuck. And that's Chuck in the green and black sweater. Interviewer says, and one time she licked my face. So, oh wow, he says Lady Luck has licked his face once upon a time. He said, you know, I could sue you. I could bring this up and sue you for harassment in 2024. Come on, Chuck. We don't laugh about Me Too's. Lady Luck says, no, listen, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Hey, I did some things under the influence of alcohol. And this is like her superpower plus her super detriment is that she's so open and so liberal with how she speaks. Now you're on Candy Camera. So she says, I did some things under the influence of alcohol. Maybe I was thinking about that one day too. I was wild. I hope they don't come to try to Harvey Weinstein my ass. You know, I done grabbed all the ass in the strip club, but you liked it, and you were not upset when it happened. Commentary on R. Kelly, Diddy, and Michael Jackson. Here she sends a tweet at J Mills in 2009, says, yeah, R. Kelly pissed on a girl. She was a partner in sex. She welcomed it. Rihanna didn't welcome that ass whipping. So she, that lady, that young lady was actually, she was a child. She was a minor. 2023 at Dan Reed. Why would accusers and their family members commit unaliving themselves if it weren't a lie? What? Why did Corey and Macaulay deny him touching him? Okay, I guess this is about Michael Jackson. Webster denounced it and countless others. But slithering snakes like you want a payday. SMH, how do you sleep at night? Repost of Doggy Diamonds. Y'all talk about hip-hop all effing day. That's all y'all know. Y'all don't even see what's happening. I told y'all a long time ago, they control the narrative. They want hip-hop out of here. That's why they push Afro beats and Latin music. They're going to take down all of the hip-hop moguls. So Doggy Diamonds is basically implying, as of March of last year, that all of the hip-hop moguls are not going down because of nasty, fucked up shit that they did themselves, but a narrative to kill hip-hop. Oh, boy. And, of course, that's in Diddy's defense. Luck on R. Kelly. Oh, you were still going up for R. Kelly in 2022? She says, I want to hear the R. Kelly album. I'm going to listen to the album. I think R. Kelly is the poster child for that, and I don't agree with his behaviors, but I know when I was in high school, older men were driving and picking up the girls. That was a thing at one point in time. This has been, well, it still happens. It just doesn't get talked about as nearly as much as it should. This has been part of the culture forever. Don't say it's part of the culture. It's part of the wrongdoing. She says, I do not agree with some of the age groups or anything, but I feel like a lot of us are being holier than thou. I know a lot of girls who mess with older guys and people who will admit it, and now we are acting like R. Kelly was taking this thing and it wasn't consensual. I'm not saying it's correct. One of the girls, her parents followed R. Kelly to his shows and then took her backstage. I know that when I was younger, 16 years old, my mother's not letting me go to the studio with no grown man, especially when we knew about Aaliyah and all these other things. Luck on R. Kelly and Diddy. This is last year. She says, I am not in any way, shape, form defending R. Kelly. I'm not in any way, shape, form defending Puff Daddy. But I've never in my life seen a Caucasian person who has the same allegations or even worse be torn down like that. Harvey Weinstein ain't go through it like that. They did not go do Harvey Weinstein's house with guns drawn. Jeffrey Epstein was allowed to do whatever it was that happened in that cell. If y'all gonna throw R. Kelly away, y'all gotta go back into the 50s. Let's start there, where it was normalized to do these things. I just feel like everybody's full of shit nowadays. I really do. I was 17 in high school. I know how them bitches was built in my high school. And I know how older men was coming in them cars. Not how they was built. Peloton, they took down Puffy's music and everybody else who was on Bad Boy. What Biggie got to do with that? So imagine how many other companies can tear down the legacy of so many people who worked hard. It don't happen like that in other places. You can still watch a Weinstein movie no matter where you go. Woody Allen, he's still popping. And, I mean, she makes valid points. I just think that they're, misnomers, whataboutisms. But I get it. Lady Luck's statements. Civil rights is one of the most detrimental things to happen to the black community. This was last year. I should call and tell her I'm about to come over and put my face in her puss. Yes, because if you don't, it may be considered grape. I don't even know what the fuck that's about. Weird. She retweets someone else. Why would Trump have been invited to attend Mike Tyson's parties in the 80s if he were racist? Another post from last year. Believe it or not, some of your friends and relatives secretly hate you. 2011, global grind. Whose dick do I gotta suck to get some love over there? Wow. I know it's a phrase. 2015, she sends one to Daylight. Hey nigga, fuck a threesome with Diddy. Your wife bad as shit. Call me. Interesting. And it keeps going. True Stories Radio, September 2013. Interviewer Heineken. Excuse me. Interviewer 1. Heineken was in the studio bragging that he grabbed your ass and you made it bounce, which to me I thought was so fucking odd. Oh, this is going bad off the rip. As one interviewer laughs and the other yells, "Let's go," Luck takes headphones off, turns around so you can see her back momentarily, then turns back around and puts headphones back on. So she's showing off the ass in the baggy shorts. Look, I'm in my cargo shorts, so you're not going to be able to see. But you know what I will do, Viv? I'm going to put up a video of me a clapping ass. I'm going to put it on Instagram just so you niggas can know. Interviewer 2. But she wants to know, did I grab your ass or no? Luck says he did. Thank you. I guess that's Heineken. This is weird. You know, I know some shit used to be humorous and whatnot, but gee damn. No, I think he even touched my breast before. He has been blanking me since we was out of college in Brooklyn, and every time I see him, and I love it. I love when they love me. He's the type of man that don't judge me for my basketball shorts and my baseball hat. He know that there's tight pussy under here. So give a round of applause to that man. Wow. Luck speaking on family relationships on Bag Fuel with Heineken and Esso just last year. She said, "It just got nasty. My cousin Leland, he's still alive. He don't fuck with me. Y'all ain't fucking with me anyway. Y'all ain't come to my mom's memorial. What's up?" But Lee is one of the most horrible people I've met in my life. Interviewer 1 says, "Oh shit." Interviewer 2 says, "But that's your family though." Luck says, "It's not. It's a relative." "Oh, by marriage?" He say, "No, that means family is only people." Fair. I think some of these statements are pretty general. Some of them are a little questionable. Here are more tweets. At the Heatmakers. Shout out to the Heatmakers, producers, Dipset, all that. "All right, don't make me hunt you down and blank you." Wow. Doing all that to get some beats. She sends a tweet at Jalil Beats. Shout out to Jalil Beats. Holla at me. Ninth Wonder Music. "Who dick I gotta suck for a beat?" Okay, so she's been asking that question quite a bit. June 17th, 2011. At Tony Neal. Core DJs. "Got a banger, man. I need you. I'll harass you when I get the mixed version. Please, Tony, I'll suck your dick." Crackhead from Menace Voice. So she's offering fellatio for support to her music. Clearly she's joking, but she's saying it a lot. At New Jersey Devil. "DJ, sexy, cut it out before me and my homegirls blank you." Street Kings TV, officially iced from the Joe Budden podcast. Miss Des Monique. "And this blank blank went and erased the tweets. LOL, why you erase them, you fucking soft pussy?" June 27, 2011. Hip Hop DX. "Whose dick do I have to suck to get some love on the site?" Why do you keep saying that? She sends one at Jadakiss. "Whose dick do I gotta suck for a verse?" April 28th, 2012. Joey started eating coochie young. Ha ha ha. I don't know who Joey is. She sends one to Rap Radar, Elliot Wilson and B-Dot. She says, "Whose dick do I have to suck to get my new single on the site?" May 14th, I don't know what year this is. "In this new era, I see more females being valid than the fellas. From these celebrities to friends to majority of the men in my family. Who raised y'all? If the shoe don't fit, you ain't gotta say shit. I know I'm speaking from the other side of the rainbow, thank God. Maybe I'm jaded." So it says here, "Whatever happened to the real men? Or better yet, why do I know so many bitch ass niggas? Am I tripping or men just ain't menin anymore? It's spooky out here." This should have nothing. This shouldn't even be clipped in here. Okay, I'm not going to say that name. "I need to fuck something bad. I got some pressure built up." Ron Faison. "Got a big old dick." Okay. Another one. "Fuck it. I'm going to put it out there. Since the weight loss, my sex life is beyond incredible. Shit, I do what I didn't know I could now." Don't know why that's there. "Just finished watching Lil Wayne doc. To be honest, what great musician didn't use drugs? Gotta find my preference. LOL. Mary Jane." She sends one at Raw Digger 2010. "I'm just a little pissed because they smile at my face for years. Then like sex ejaculate too early. Get a little shine on and fuck us." Okay. niggas go wild when I say I've been taking pipe for a while. Of course I still eat coochie. What the fuck you think I'm doing right now? That was 2015. All this stuff has nothing to do with Kevin Liles' accusations on her, though. This one says, LMAO dude in a wheelchair said he's excited. Haha, the government in the Netherlands pays for cripples to have sex 12 times a year. The best looking hoes are from Australia. LMAO, OMG, they showing a man in a wheelchair paying for sex. SMH, I'm about to roll up to watch this. Hollywood about a blanket. Nigga, why are you on my timeline? Blocked. New Lady Luck sex tape. So she was even falsely promoting the sex tape to get people to watch her YouTube video. Check out my new sex tape. Hey, boss mob Hoffa. That's why his gay, talking about editing my video. Because y'all don't fuck with him. Just look at his gay profile pic. Okay. So I guess they're trying to show her insensitivity to other people. And of course, they're trying to paint the picture that she advocates for ex-offenders and abusers, things of that nature. And nowhere in her history of shouting out Kevin Liles has she ever said anything bad about him. So we're just going to have to see where things go from here. Once again, if you're here for the first time, if you jumped in while this was happening during the premiere, we're here because Kevin Liles came to the internet and let it be known that he was approached privately by Lady Luck, former battle rapper signed to Def Jam once upon a time. Very talented rapper, very talented lyricist. I can never take nothing away from her in that department. He claims she came to him privately about 3 weeks ago and said, I'm going to write a book and file a lawsuit saying that you SA'd me. And he claims that she demanded $30 million for it to not go out public. Okay. So I don't know if she's been watching the Diddy trial and decided that she wanted to pull a Cassie, because that's what it directly sounds like, or what the situation is. Okay. Kevin Liles, once again, he was just accused of similar allegations in a lawsuit that has been voluntarily dismissed by a Jane Doe. That dismissal just came a couple days ago. So he's coming to the people to let it be known that behind the scenes, she has not even filed this lawsuit. He's letting it be known that she threatened to do so. Again, I don't know anything. I barely know these people. I have a very limited interaction with Miss Lady Luck. She said she was going to place my music in some TV shows. She did a retitling against my We Never Spoke About It, which means she went and claimed publishing on it. One of my collaborators was then taken off the song for some reason in the registration, and it still hasn't been rectified to this day. That I do know about Miss Lady Luck. Now, anything else beyond that, I don't know. So just be careful. All right? Let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, become an insider, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Y'all be good out there. Peace.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rag. Leading my people like quarterback. But I study this shit on my almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef for computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. But drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I been dropping these haters like calories. Cross some out, came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble.